What it does then is it calculates the route to make sure that it knows the roads to use. Because all the GPX file contains is not the roads to use, but the start and end point and the via point. Then it'll say successfully imported. We go back to the screen again, we say where to, go to routes, and we can see it listed now. Now what is a good idea to do, because as I said, the route only contains the start and end point and the via point. It doesn't contain the actual specific roads to use, so it could be different than what you expect. So it's always a good idea, and to make sure that nothing has gone wrong, to have a look at it, so we can preview the route. We can see what road it's going to use. Now in actual fact here, what sometimes happens, and it's happened here, and it doesn't always happen, what sometimes happens is that it has I don't know if you can see this, it has just a straight line. In other words, these are obviously not the roads it's using, they're just, all it knows is by the via points, and that's why it also says time is not available. So what we do there, just to fix that, and you can do this out on the road, you don't have to do this when you're at your computer, to fix that, we say edit the route, and we scroll down to say recalculate. Faster time is fine. And that'll fix that problem for us. Now we can see that it's using the correct roads, and it has a time for route as well. This device thinks that will take 1 hour 26 minutes, which might be different than what Google Maps thought, but that's because it's using they're all different maps and different data. So that's how to get a GPX file onto your device, onto your Garmin device, and that's how. And all you do then, when you're ready, when you're ready to actually drive it, you say where to routes, and you select your route, and you just say go. And if you're not near the start point of the route, it'll ask you, would you like to navigate to the start point of the route? And you can say yes, and it'll actually turn by turn direct you there. If you say no, it'll still allow you to drive a route, but you have to kind of figure out where you'd like to join a route yourself. So both of those things are quite useful. It would be nice if it had another function to say, don't navigate to the beginning of a route, but navigate me to the nearest point I can join the route from where I am now. But it doesn't have that function. So hopefully the person who designed the routes will have put the start points, or if you've designed routes yourself, put the start points near where you are currently, or where you expect to actually start driving from, but not necessarily exactly where you start driving from, because otherwise it can cause other problems. Okay, so that's fine. So I'm going to turn off the Nuvi for a moment. There are other ways you can get, if you don't like this using Windows Explorer to transfer GPX files to your Nuvi, there are 3 programs which will do it for you, at least 3 that I know about. There's probably others as well. There's a free program called Easy GPS, which you can download from the internet, and what that will do, once a Nuvi is connected, you can just select, you can open the file. So let's open our file which was on the desktop, called gpxfile.gpx. You can look at the routes that are in it. There can be more than one listed. We've only got a single route here, but you can actually, and then you can actually select all or some of the routes and say send to my GPS. And because you'll see that the Nuvi will be selected if it's listed, and that will actually do the same thing. It'll just put the file, essentially it'll put a file in that directory for you, in the directory I showed you in Windows Explorer. But you don't have to worry about that. All you have to then do is unplug your Nuvi, switch it on, and select import route from file like I showed you. So the Nuvi part is the same, it's just stopping using Windows Explorer. There are 2 other programs which do something very similar. There's a program called Tire, which you can open a GPX file in, and then you can say copy to Garmin, which does exactly the same thing. And there's also Map Source, which is not free, but if you have it, you can use this as well. So you can say send to device, and if your device was connected, it would list it there. The nice thing about those programs, or at least Easy GPS and Map Source, and Easy GPS, remember, is free, is that you can also read back out any routes that you've created yourself in the device, or you happen to have on the device. You can read them back out into the program and save them as a GPX file. So it's a 2-way transfer. Just to also tell you that I will talk at the end of the video about how to get ITN files onto a Nuvi. ITN files are the itinerary format for TomTom, and they're really routing files, and you can actually use a program called Tire to convert them to the GPX format, and then you can just get them onto your Nuvi in the way I've just shown you. So the next part of what I'll talk about is how to prepare routes. The most straightforward way is, and I'll show you it first, is to prepare them on the device itself. From the home screen, what we can say is we can either say just where to, we can say routes, and what we can do is we can select to make a new route, to actually create one. Ask us where we'd start, like start and end the route from, and these can be the same if you want to do a circular route. Although I find it causes less problems if you don't actually make the start and end point the same. If instead you have them slightly away from where you actually want to start driving from, both of them slightly away, because otherwise the Garmin device can end up thinking that you have finished a route when you're actually just starting it. So I find it's useful to put them slightly away, about a mile or so away from where you want to start sometimes. So on this screen then we say we want to select our start point, and we have several different ways of selecting our start point, and they are the normal ways that you'd use to find anything on the device. So we could select it by address, or by just use our home, or whatever set to our home location, or from just browsing the map. You can do that as well, or input coordinates. One useful thing that you might not realize you can do is you can just say cities. So but this is especially good for via points. You can say, well, I just like to start in the city of Southampton. I don't care exactly where. Maybe not so much good for start and end points, but basically it's really good for via points. If you in cities, it says cities, but it includes villages in there. So so it's really useful for that if you just want to drive through the village. And then we want to go to Swindon, we said, so we'll select city of Swindon. So it's in Wiltshire, and select that. Now if we just did next, it would be kind of pointless really, because we could just be in Southampton and just ask it to go to Swindon. The thing is, we want to put a via point in, which this plus arrow is indicating we can do, and we can. I'll just show you another different way of selecting somewhere a via point or start point, which is to browse map. So this is where we are at the moment, but if we go to, if we want to make the via point just south of Swindon somewhere. No, it's running out of battery, but okay. We'll just select there, just a random place. That's fine. Select, and we say next. It's calculating the route for us now, and then it draws a route on the device. The screen's quite small here, but hopefully you can see that. And the pink line is the route, and we can save it onto the device, and it gives it gives it a default name, which we can change. It says Swindon from Southampton, but we could change that to whatever we wanted. We can change it. Okay, that's really good if you're out and about to just do it as I did there, because you know you can do it just with the device and you don't have to have your computer with you. But it's much easier if you're preparing routes and you really want to get them spot on, to do it on the computer.